And we're back with our guest Jay Jurden. This is everyone's favorite segment. It is Das Race News. And this one is a little different. Race News. This doesn't come from a news source per se. I guess it's kind of from a news source. It's from Reddit, which is where all the truth lies. So this one is from. I read about this on Our Asian American. So shouts to them. And they have somebody posted on there like a little topic, and it said, why do Asian Americans, that's us, always do fake accents? I just did it earlier and therefore offended my family, but it's true, we do it. And I think they were referring to a couple of different things. There's a comedian who's like blown up recently. I'm gonna say it, he's our friend. He's coming on the show next week, and his name's Nigel Ng, and he's got a new character. And I think they were referring to his character, Uncle Roger. But I think in general also there's like other things that they sort of talk about. I think also Ken Jeong, of course, they kind of bring him up as well. And this topic comes up a lot, especially for Asian Americans or like West Asian people. We talk about the accent thing, and like, is it funny? Is it not funny? Why do we always do it? Like, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. Yeah, a lot of people had different topics on there, and it was nuanced. But yeah,
let me just a very quick synopsis of what this guy writes. He wrote a whole paragraph. I'm just gonna read like 2 sentences. He says, "I'm not gonna lie. Accents are it is funny sometimes, but it also sends a poor message to non-Asians. You are sending a message to them that it's okay to laugh at someone who speaks with an accent, and that being from another country and speaking differently is funny." And so it's weird. Asian Americans get very sensitive with comedy, and especially when you do an accent. Other non-Asian people might think it's funny. You as the comedian might think it's funny, but anytime you do an accent, know that like 60% of the room, if they're Asian, they're like with hating ass eyes. They're looking at you with hating ass eyes.
I'm gonna go out and say I actually don't think. I think people are very nervous about it, but I think that it's more people like it than you think. But it's also because, and I'm gonna go on the side of the audience, but like most of the time people do it and it's not good. And it's
well, are you talking about Asian people doing it or non-Asian people doing it?
Both times.
I'm gonna push back right now and say, if you're a non-Asian person, I'll even go further. If you're a non-South Asian person doing a South Asian dialect for a person who has a stereotypically South Asian job, you're evil, and it's 2020. Stop. What are you doing? If you're a non-East Asian person, that's regardless of if you're black or Latinx or white. I think some white people still do comedy in 2020. If you are doing an East Asian dialect, woo! Yeah, you're crazy. First of all, congrats on SNL. But secondly, I shouldn't have said that joke. Sorry, Shane. But like, don't do it. I'm gonna tell you right now. And so as a black person, the closest thing that we have to this, as far as like approximating it, is I have some friends who are Nigerian or the children of Nigerian parents, right? And sometimes they will do their parents, because there's some immigrant kind of Venn diagrams that cross over. Immigrant parents being disappointed in their Americanized children is a theme that runs through on so many different levels for so many people from so many different places in the world. Mm-hmm. Like when they do that accent, it's usually to contrast their opinion with their parents. So if it's done for the sake of comedy, I'm always in favor of like you using that person to set yourself up for a better joke. From a execution standpoint, I'll say you as a comedian, if you want your career to go a long way, you need to be the funniest part of your set. Because the more that you give your parents or your relatives or your aunties, because it can happen. If I would Southern Mama kind of did it for Southern people in a weird way. The more that you give that person all of your punchlines, the more the audience loves that person. And when you start to become the setup person for your punchlines, and you don't get to deliver them, then you're like the part of the popsicle that's sticking out already. And they're like, I just want to get to the good part.
They're like, blowing my mind right now.
They're just like, do the voice. So,
this is why.
So it doesn't help you.
Yes.
Is what it doesn't.
That's a great.
But I'm not going to get mad at you.
Yes, that's a great point. I'm so glad that you have a master's degree to help us with this, because we would not have been able to articulate that nearly as well. But I think you're right, and we'll talk about it more with Nigel. But I do think that, like, the character can sometimes become bigger than you, and then and then people will like want to see the character rather than. And then stand up it's supposed to be about yourself. It's supposed to be as pure of yourself as you can bring to the stage. And so to bring it back to this, I don't think that accents are always going to be bad, but I think that like audiences, Asian American audiences have been like primed to always see it as like, oh, as soon as somebody starts doing the accent, they're about to make fun of me. Like, this is about to happen every time. Like, it's going to happen, rather than like
right. They're about to make fun of the Asian audience instead of I see it now, because whenever a comedian does a Jamaican accent, or they do an Indian, like Usama does a lot of Indian accents, he's just kind of like making fun of his family, right?
He's talking about his mom, right?
He's not making fun of the Indian American people in the crowd. He's just making fun of his like crazy mom. And that's the way accents should be used. It should be like isolated to your own world, because to Jay's point, it's about your world. But you're right, with Asian accents, it's been sort of abused, and it's just a guy making fun of like just Asian people out on the streets or whatever.
I mean, it's even fucking Angelica Johnson, who.
Oh, right.
Like, that was. I mean, that was something that I guess she needed to talk about, because she's Latinx. She might even be mixed with a few things, but her primary identifier is like a woman who is Latina, because she was just on the HBO thing. So like, for her to have the nail tech voice for so long, and people look at her and not know what she is, then more people thought it was okay. And so then casually people say that shit to Asian people, because they think, oh, this is common ground as far as comedy, and they're like, I don't think that shit's funny.
That's happened to me. Yeah, they go, what was her line? Why you know her boyfriend, right? But with a Vietnamese
like,
accent. Yeah.
I get that you're supporting small business owners, but don't do that to me.
You know what's funny is when I first saw that, I was she does a great accent, I have to admit. And when it happened, when I saw
Mike's
it,
first
I was
point.
like, I was like,
good
have
job.
you ever seen someone do racism so good for a second you stop and go, that's some good racism? You know what I'm saying? It's like if somebody were to wear a white hood in your house, but the white hood is like made of a really nice like silk material or something, and you're like, that's a nice silk hood. And then you're like, wait a second, get the fuck out of here. That was what was crazy. I was like, oh, damn, that's a good. She's been working on that one. But then
she's been working on that racism.
I like that Mike's first reaction was, who told? Wait a second, who's been?
Wait a minute.
Someone's giving her tips.
I gotta text my aunts. You know what I'm saying? Just like who.
But also the Uncle Roger video is a character video about rice. So like, here's my takeaway from that, because it's a character video.
Yes.
And it's not him on stage doing like 40 minutes of his 60 minutes as Uncle Roger.
Yes.
Uncle Roger can have a character video specifically about someone fucking up rice. Like that makes enough sense that no one's gonna be like, I can't, you know what I mean?
So
it'd
that's
be like
why,
if a Southern person had a video where they were extra Southern and they were like, you're doing what with cornbread? Like, you'd be allowed.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people accepted it because it's got like 6 million views, you know.
It's got so many views. I feel like
I think he's doing all right.
I think the reason why I like Uncle Roger, that character, is because it's a character. It's like, he calls himself Uncle Roger. He has actually, Nigel had made a few other videos before he got onto the cooking thing about like, how he has like a cell phone and he has like, he's
like
wearing
Uncle Roger dating, right?
Yeah. He's got all these things, and so there's like fleshed out character, and in some ways it's somewhat specific to kind of like a Malaysian Chinese feel that he's kind of talking about. But like, as an Asian person, Vietnamese dude, I kind of know when Uncle Roger, my uncles are kind of like that. And so that character has an accent, which is like, it makes sense, like, and and he's kind of like trying to get into this like really specific kind of accent that, it's not like a generalized Asian accent. It's kind of like a very specific to a certain area. And that's why I think it's okay, because it's a character and it makes sense that the character has an accent. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that kind of carries it through. It would make less sense if like this guy, hey, I'm Uncle Roger, I'm from Hong Kong and I have a Southern accent. That wouldn't make any sense. Like, so this kind of works with that. So to your point, Jay, I think it's like, and it, it's very specific to this thing, and it's like, it's to criticize this one particular aspect. That's where I feel it works, But yeah.
It's also like, I hate to say it, and this sucks.
Say it.
Sometimes this is the barometer, but it's also funny enough and innocent enough that it can get away with it.
Yes, it's fucking
There's
rice.
not like, it's funny and innocent. Sometimes they're funny, but sometimes things can be funny but evil, and you're like, I'm conflicted. It's funny and it's innocent.
I'm conflicted. Yeah.
Like, everyone has seen like a video where someone is being like a terrible person, and you're like, man, this is so, I'm not gonna share it. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it.
Not gonna share it.
Not
gonna share it.
And then after that, I'm gonna keep going.
I might even I might send it to someone privately. I'm not gonna post it though.
Yeah. Like, I'm gonna go on Signal and do it.
It was funny. It was about rice. Also, the woman was fucking up.
Fucking up.
Even black people. Okay, because like rice as a global connector among non-white communities. I don't know. You're going to get mad. White people that listen to this podcast, thank you for being allies, but you're going to get upset. So rice is super important to African people, to Indian people, to East Asian people, to people in the Middle East. So white people, y'all just never loved it. Y'all like barley. Y'all like there are other grains that are more important to you. Irish soda bread. I don't know. So when a black person has an opinion about, when an African person has an opinion about jollof rice, particularly a Nigerian person or a person from Ghana or a person from Sierra Leone, they can have a character who is rooted and steeped in the culture, like say things in the voice of the culture about that food, because food is so important to us. Food is some of the only ways that they can remain connected to things. So if Uncle Roger as the character sees you fucking up one of the few things that was like a familial moment, like washing the rice and like having a rice cooker, like he's allowed to be funny and silly about it, just from like a socio-cultural standpoint.
And you kind of think of it like this, like only an Asian person could write a character like him. This specific thing. He's got the clip and the way he wears his polo, and like he has this thing where he has his leg up all the time.
Yeah.
That's right on target. No white writer on SNL could be like, and he's got his leg up all the time. No, that wouldn't even make sense. But like Asian people, we're gonna be like, okay, the accent's there, but then also the leg up is there. And
can we get the leg in there?
The leg up. That's what's up.
It's like the Black Uncle's Bluetooth in the early 2000s.
Yeah. We have that too.
Non-white. Okay, so every non-white uncle, and by uncle I'm using uncle in parentheses, because it could just be a family friend. If you don't know, you know, but if you knew already, you knew. They love Bluetooths. They love fashion about 5 years too late. It's like right after everyone stopped wearing it. It's like, or they'll get you a gift. They'll be like, I hear people are buying the kids hoverboards. You're like, not now.
Hey, you heard about these fidget spinners? You guys like that? You guys you like bootcut jeans? Yeah.
They'll ask you about a celebrity that is hot, but that would never talk to them, and they'll tell you what they would do if they could get a chance with that.
Get a chance, yes. Yes.
My God, the Bluetooth. You totally got it.
Yeah, man. We gotta let Uncle Roger be Uncle Roger.
We're gonna let Uncle
Jay's
Roger.
point, it's like, yeah. Go ahead.
We're gonna get into it more. We're gonna have Nigel on next week, and we're gonna talk about it. But
I think that's so smart and so good that you guys aren't like fake. What's the best way of me to say it? Like some people, their wokeness is performative and virtue signaling. So like, if both of you guys are like, I don't approve of this.
Well, I'm always on the side of funny. So if I went, haha, then I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna try to defend it because I thought it was funny and I trust my sense of humor. Does that make sense? Right? So like, if my initial reaction was like, because this is a little, because you're right, it's based on like a real person, and if he didn't have an accent, it kind of doesn't make sense because it's assumed that this guy's an immigrant, and to Jay's point, like rice is one of the food is one of the few cultural touch points he has in the country that he lives in now, right? So it's like rice is all Uncle Roger has, baby. That's his thing.
Sees someone
he's divorced
on TV. Fucking it up. That's the crazy part. He's like, wait a
sec. He got to put his leg down now. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't. I tried to accept and learn everything that I've seen. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, so if Fumi was to make a character, if Fumi was to see someone messing up rice, I think because you're a millennial and because of your cultural connection, not only to your family, but also to like American culture, you'd be like, you fucking up. I'm not gonna say anything, but like Uncle Roger has to have a reaction.
He has to have a reaction.
Like, I can't hold my peace. I'm not gonna do this.
He was put on this earth for this mission. God made him. They sent him here for this job. He is the Messiah of rice. That's what it is. This reminds me of that last week. I was out with my in-laws, and God bless them, they're white, and I sometimes they listen. So hey, shouts, how's it going? I love you guys, but the other.
I'm sorry about what I said about barley.
We went out fishing. That was awesome. It was a very, God bless the whites for fishing, taking me out fishing in their fancy boat. And then I remember we were gonna get the fish ready. We caught some fish, and we were like, gonna eat the fish. And they're like, I remember them talking back and forth and saying, hey, we're gonna eat this with sticky rice. And I was like, sticky rice? And so for a Vietnamese person and an East Asian person, sticky rice that means something. That means the rice that's inside of a banana leaf that's been like fucking steamed.
Molded.
It takes forever to make. Usually you buy it like at the back of a Chinatown van along with like a bunch of CDs and shit. And like that is sticky rice. And what they actually served was just white rice. That's what they call sticky rice, right? And the whole time I was like, "Where's the sticky rice?"
Yo, but you needed Uncle Roger there with you to be like, "Ay."
Yeah, I couldn't do that because I was like, I'm living off of these white people right now. I'm mooching off them. They could get out me any second here, but so I didn't want to fuck that shit up. I was riding that high, but I was like, this is not sticky rice. It's just regular rice. It wasn't even that sticky. Anyways,
I just imagine Mike's subconscious being like, yeah, but where's that rice?
I was. If somebody says sticky, I thought there was going to be a straight up a Chinese grandmother rolling up with like a wheelbarrow, just like selling sticky rice to me. So that's what I was like. Where's the sticky rice at?
That can happen sometimes in New York for me when a place is like a southern restaurant.
Oh,
and I'm
shit!
Like, well, we'll see. I was like, we'll see. I'm working on new stuff about barbecue, and I always say the best Yelp review for a good barbecue place in Mississippi is just a sticky table. Like if I go to your barbecue place and your table is clean, I'll like touch it and I'll be like, clean table, 2 stars. What are you doing? Clearly ain't nobody eating here. What's happening?
Oh my God.
I need some dish rag residual water on this table. It's too clean.